After I've already talked about Benson's suffering in regular show, and also about his supposed issue with chicken wings and this whole alcoholism thing, I think it would be fair to make a more positive video about the character. One that focuses on his good side. That side is shown to us in a few episodes of the show and makes it very clear that, deep down, Benson was actually a good person with a good heart. He was capable of being kind and understanding toward those around him, specifically Mordecai and Rigby. The problem is that, unfortunately, this good side was often hard to see and remember because of the many moments where he lost his patience, lost control, and as a result, was seen by the audience as the bad guy. Even though that wasn't really how it was supposed to be, I think we can all agree that's how it came across, right? However, today we're going to revisit the times when Benson acted kindly and explore some interesting aspects of his character. First, we need to understand that Benson was never truly a bad guy. Of course, he made mistakes, had bad attitudes throughout the episodes, and had his own internal issues behind those actions. But let's be real, all of that applies to nearly every character in regular show, doesn't it? What I'm trying to say is that if we take a look at how Benson treated, I don't know, Skips, for example, it was very different from the way he treated Mordecai and Rigby. And this difference is what caused 99% of the situations where he was seen as the bad guy by the audience. Benson respected Skips, he never yelled at him and always acted like a good friend. And obviously, this difference in treatment was because Skips did his job and never gave Benson any headaches that would make him go crazy with anger and, say, drop a TV. So, the bad side of Benson that we saw in most of the show was mainly related to how he treated Mordecai and Rigby, not the rest of the park crew, who actually saw the good side of Benson most of the time. And as those two guys constantly made his life harder with their irresponsible behavior, they also caused all of Benson's unresolved, complicated internal issues to come out more often and more intensely. This, of course, contributed to the idea that Benson was a bad guy, since all the worst parts of him were constantly on display. But one very important thing to mention is that, despite all the negative effects and the problems Mordecai and Rigby caused in his life, Benson didn't hate them. He hated the things they did wrong, and the best proof of that is a very interesting conversation Benson has with them in the episode, Don't Blow It. In that episode, he's extremely angry with the two of them. But then, out of nowhere, Rigby casually asks, "Benson, why do you hate us so much?" And you can clearly see that the question catches Benson completely off guard. He looks genuinely surprised and immediately calms down. He then answers that he doesn't hate them, but that he truly hates some of the things they do. And he says he knows they don't do those things out of malice, but as their boss, it was his job to push them to do their best. And that's absolutely true. Even though Benson's methods were definitely not the best, he was just trying to help them develop some sense of responsibility and do a good job. On top of that, there are several moments in the show that show he's a good person and that portray his best side very well. In the episode where Mordecai is feeling depressed because he thinks Margaret got engaged, Benson gives him a really sincere and meaningful piece of advice that ends up helping a lot. He tells Mordecai that if he just leaves things the way they are, he'll regret it for the rest of his life, and that speaking up about how he feels might not change anything, but at least he'll have peace of mind. You can tell this advice comes from a personal place for Benson, like he had already gone through something similar and genuinely didn't want Mordecai to go through the same pain he did. In another episode, he shows up at the park house suspecting that Mordecai and Rigby had done something wrong and were hiding it. But when he realizes that everything seems calm and in order, he's genuinely pleased and treats them both really nicely, congratulating them for being responsible and even inviting them to share a special soda he had been saving for a long time. This clearly shows that Benson would be kind to them if they were responsible and did their jobs, and once again proves that he never actually hated them. And to be honest, he even seemed to care about Mordecai and Rigby sometimes. In the episode, Addicted to Table Rock, he tries to get rid of the game as fast as possible to prevent the two from getting too addicted and wasting a huge part of their lives stuck in a dead. He didn't want them to go through the same thing because he had felt that pain himself and knew how damaging it was. All of that had made him an unhappy person, and he didn't want that for them. If we really stop and look closely at everything and analyze the episodes carefully, we can actually see that Benson is the nicest and kindest guy around. I mean, even after all the stuff Mordecai and Rigby did throughout the show, they were never fired. And when you consider all of Benson's complexity and humanity, the way he knows how to enjoy life when the time is right, his amazing and interesting past as a drummer who pulled off an insane, impossible solo, or even as a professional table rock player, I think it's safe to say he's one of the best characters in regular show, and definitely one of my personal favorites.